Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
April 20, 2021, the Business with Purpose edition. And we begin with that story from Claire Jones in the On Management column from the Financial Times. In this piece, Jones looks at recent Netflix pieces which take a look at athletic teams and how the leadership from these teams has evolved, largely because of the types of coaching that have led some coaches to believe that there are tools which can help build confidence, which gives their employees better chances to succeed. The one coach said that talented people can be flawed and difficult. You need to show that you understand them while balancing that affinity with initiative. And what struck me as most significant about this article is that in the financial, or rather in the business world, some banks and law firms are increasingly aware that you need to have a sense of purpose for employees, and that making people work long hours without doing so is going to lead to problems in attracting and retaining talent. That's an issue I'm going to take up in a leadership podcast later this week, and I thought that was a great lead-in to today's daily compliance news. All of the stories come from the Financial Times today, and our next story is that the bank HSBC has changed its C-suite to hot desks as the London headquarters of the bank scraps its executive floor. Top managers have been booted out of their private 42nd floor offices, which have been turned into client meeting rooms and collaborative spaces, including the CEO, who now has 2 hot desks 2 floors below the executive suites. Offices were empty a lot of the time, so the bank decided that was a waste of real estate. And if you're asking your colleagues to change that, management believes that they should lead. So even senior execs don't have a designated desk. You turn up and grab one in the morning. So welcome to the hot desk era at HSBC. Next up, the troubles for Wirecard, about Wirecard still resonate as EY's audit have found serious flaws. That's really not new, but the Big Four firm is said to have failed to spot fraud risk indicators, did not fully implement professional guidelines, and on key questions relied on verbal assurances from executives. A special investigator who scrutinized EY audits came to a damning verdict about the quality of the work, according to people who reviewed the report. This report was done at the behest of the German Bundestag and will significantly add to the woes of the accountancy firm. Whether EY in Germany is a continued successful business enterprise may well be now in doubt. And our final story is really a troubling story about UBS, which had an employee who reported a rape and sexual assault and then agreed to participate in the company's internal investigation. When the company fired her, they claiming that they found no evidence of a rape or sexual assault. The former employee filed an unemployment claim. UBS tried to claim that the investigation was privileged, but a court ruling said that the judge said that UBS could not rely on legal privilege because the law firm had been hired to conduct an independent inquiry into how human resources had responded. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.